every single card in this deck is facing. There's no red backs you see. Yes?
Now I see one.
There's one red back, and this red back will be the 5 of hearts.
Nothing like stars from a paradise. Don't care, cause there's magic in the air tonight. Pretty girl in my ear, she the rarest type. Heaven on earth is right here tonight. I'm in the dream state. I'm in the dream state.
This is a big episode right here. 2023 off to a hot start. I'm super excited for this one because the story is just, I don't know anything about the story, so it's going to be super special to hear this and just, organically ask these questions and find out how everything came to be. This guy is super impressive. Everything I've been seeing, since I met him, which was not too long ago, has just been amazing, and so I'm super hyped to have him on. We got JoshPele Magic. How we doing, brother?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I'm super stoked. This has been excited for me for a while. Just really happy to be here.
Dude, I'm hyped to have you. And we have been talking about it for some time now because I rolled out the podcast this fall when Reds reopened for the year, and we met last fall. Right. And so I had been working on getting the podcast kind of up and running, and then once it started dropping, you were somebody that I did want to have on, and you had actually reached out to me as well, showing interest, like, yo, let's do this. And finally it lined up, and I'm hyped because you said 2023 you were trying to do a podcast, so here we are. First week, second week, we're in. We're rocking.
Yeah, 6 days or 7 days, 6 days into the year. Already got one of my New Year's goals off, so I'm happy.
That's fire.
Excited.
Let's go. I'm hyped. So like I said in the intro a little bit, I don't know the whole story of, how you ended up doing what you're doing now, which we will get into and kind of tell those stories. But I guess we'll start it off where we met, which was at Reds in the fall of 2021, correct?
I believe so.
So you came in with a crew that was associated with Tommy Doyle, right? Because he went to Rutgers, Isaiah Miranda, as we were just talking about. And you actually, grew up in the same town as those guys, correct?
Yeah.
And it was cool to see. So, Tommy Doyle, shout out to him because he's just a good friend of mine now. And he was just always somebody who came into Reds, always respected the place, and always just had a good time. So it was cool that was kind of like the connection that it came through. And you said that when I first met you was before you kind of started going and doing like bars and stuff like that with the Magic. So when do you get into doing Magic? Like, was it younger? Was it during high school, or was it younger than that? When did you first gauge interest in it?
I started my sophomore year of college.
Okay.
Yeah, so I transferred to Rutgers my sophomore year. I was playing soccer at FDU, and I transferred to Rutgers to play soccer there. And I get transferred and I get put on Cook Douglas. I don't know anything about Rutgers, so I'm like, okay, this is Cook. There's nothing to do there. I didn't make a lot of friends. I didn't know anyone. The only people I interacted with was really the soccer team. And I was injured, so I was coming into the season with an injury. So, that whole time, I'm, rehabbing my hamstring. So I didn't really get to, play as much as I'd wanted to. I was training fine and playing fine, but had a lot of pain. I was doing so much treatment before and after every, session. And it just came, and then the new coach came in, and it's just my leg wasn't fully fit. He didn't want to take that chance. So I kind of stopped, and now I was like, okay, soccer's gone. It's the only reason I'm even at this school. I never applied to Rutgers out of high school. It wasn't one of my lists. It's a great school, and now that I went there, I know it's a great school. It just wasn't one that caught my eye at the time because I was kind of looking for soccer, and they weren't having the best results. And then my sophomore year comes, I transferred to, that semester I had, a housing contract, and I just hated it. I didn't know anyone at the school. I didn't know anyone. I wasn't close with the soccer players that well. I knew a lot of them because the old coach used to recruit mainly Jersey. I just didn't really have anyone I knew. Didn't really have friends. Couldn't make friends. It was tough. Cook was so far.
That's where you were still, was Cook.
Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to move my second semester. I wanted to switch, but there's the housing contract. So I had a doctor write me a note saying that my condition is so bad that I need to move back home. I can't concentrate on my academics there, which let me stop my contract at Rutgers and go. And then I instantly went on Facebook and looked for a house on College Ave. Someone said go college. I was like, okay, that's where Reds is. That's where people go out. That's where the parties are.
Yeah,
you got to go there.
Yeah.
And then once I went there, it was a game changer. I was really active. I was doing that. I still wasn't doing Magic at all, but now I was at a school where I meet people. At least I know people. At least I can go out and start to have fun. And then I made a friend in the summer. I had a ex-girlfriend at the time. She went to another high school in a different town that did an international exchange program. And there was this kid who was from Italy, and he was visiting for like 2 months. And I was like right at the 2 months that I dated her. So it was like perfect timing. And me and him got like really, really close. So he goes back after the summer to Italy. He's like, come to Italy. I was like, sure. So it's like, yeah, I'll go to Italy. Because for me, it's like for traveling, I need one. If I can have a free hotel or free stay or free flight, that's enough. I feel like the reason that traveling gets expensive is because those two together.
Yeah, everything adding up, over time. That's a big thing is when you have the stay or the flight covered, it makes it much easier to,
like,
or doable.
If a trip's 1,000 to like Europe, you're like, wow, but if it's like 500, now why not?
Just cut it in half, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, so I was like, of course I'll do it. And then it's also, I went for New Year's. I went right before. So I went like December like 26th or 7th, something like that, right after Christmas. His birthday was January 5th, so we had New Year's to celebrate. And they apparently in Italy, they have around the New Year's, there's like a holiday. I don't think it's for the New Year's, but it's just that timing. So it was like a holiday. There were people a lot of out. So it was like 3 different events in my 10 days that I'm partying with him. And I brought a deck of cards with me on the plane because they didn't really do Wi-Fi on planes like that a few years ago. And so I knew I wasn't going to have a phone. I was going to be bored and I was going to be fidgeting. And I'm playing with this deck. It was a deck I just had as randomly, and it was like not a normal one in the sense that it wasn't a Magic deck or anything. You can get it at like Target, but it had like a theme, like zombie decks have like zombies drawn and that. So it was a zombie deck, and I'm looking at one of the zombies, and it had like 3 hearts on his chest. It was like one of those suits, it had 3 hearts, and I thought, what if I do a trick where people pick a 3 of hearts, and I show them that zombie, it was like a jack, and they're gonna say, no, that's not it. I'm like, but you're not looking carefully. You're looking at the card. You're not looking at what the zombie's wearing.
Yeah.
And they see the 3 hearts, and I just assumed they'd associate that with 3 of hearts, which is their card. And
yes,
they'd get reactions, but never was into Magic. Don't know if this is a Magic trick. Don't even know how I'm going to do that at all. The idea came, so I was like, let's do it. I walked around the streets of Milan, Italy, with my friend. A lot of them surprisingly didn't speak English, the people I kept approaching, and I didn't speak any Italian, so I had him translating back and forth. But I'm doing this one trick on repeat. I'm doing it on like trolleys or whatever they're called in Milan, and the public transport system, like out in the streets in front of like some of the touristy sites. I'm doing this one trick over and over, and it's getting really good reactions. I'm like, this is kind of cool. So I come back to the U.S., and I see a trick going viral on America's Got Talent. I was like, I think I know how that works, or I don't know, maybe I'll try that one too. So I made my home shift kitchen video of that trick, and it did well. Like I posted it. This is before TikTok's a thing. This is before Insta videos, I don't even think was a thing. The only really video format you have is putting on your story some video. There's not even like the video section on Instagram. And I posted that, and I got a lot of attention. And, people that get attention to stories, hot girls. I'm not a hot girl. So if someone's swiping up on my story, I'm doing something that's working. Dog. So when I did that, I was like, this is an idea. Should I make an account? And I made an account. I made my JoshPele Magic Instagram. And I wanted to my friend was like, do a challenge, like push yourself, do a 365-day challenge. Every day, post a different trick. I don't even know that many tricks. And I also like reached out. I was like, I could do shows. I only knew one trick. And someone reached out. I was like, hey, can you do this show for me? And I was like, yeah, I can. Yeah. So like a weekend from like, I don't even do math. I know one trick. Yeah. I agreed on a show because why not? And I was like, let's do it. That's the only time I ever had to like Google everything good trick because I just needed to kill the time. I know one trick. I need to do an hour's worth of stuff. But it's for kids, so it's easy to entertain them. So I figured that out. And then I was doing the challenge, and it got tough because it's a lot of different stuff, having to post every day. I was an active social media guy, so posting every day a trick, even without editing and stuff, and something new every day and doing the trick. And it was a lot. I didn't complete the challenge, unfortunately, but I did get to 110 days. So I think that's pretty
impressive.
Good. Yeah, I did 110 days straight. And
without knowing any really tricks prior. I mean, it was just it was
just going, but it burned me out a lot. And I just quit Magic. I was like, I don't like this. I don't want to do it. I quit completely. And it just like came back in phases. So I had like 2 waves where I would like start doing again for a few months, this and that, and then I stopped. And then like around that, so fall 21 is when we met. So it makes it summer, I believe, of 21.
Mm-hmm. Right before
maybe,
we met.
Or maybe a little before. It was like 1 or 2 summers ago. Actually, I think it was last summer. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was like, started doing it again, and I got invited to like this DJ's house. He's like, I don't want to say a name, but he was like a DJ that like had clout for no reason.
Okay.
Like lucky. So like he lived in like this really big mansion with his friends that he rented, and he like flexed like the cars and the house, and he threw parties because it was a big mansion, but they're just doing it for content. They don't have like any furniture, so it looks even bigger. So it's like a club, really. Like he just can just have any party in the living room. There's no couches to move. You put the DJ table because that's what he does. You put some lights, and it's pretty cool. And it's like a multi-million-dollar home, so it's nice. I'm there, but like I see this guy has like a ton of followers. He's posting content, and I should get back into it. It's like I could do something with my magic. I want to start doing it. So I start doing slowly and then a few months in, like a month or two in, my friend was like, hey, do you want to go to like this restaurant? It was like a clubby type of restaurant, do like the party brunch type vibe in Elizabeth. And she's like, come with me. My friend's the bartender there. We're just going to go hang out. And I was like, sure. And one of like the hosts that works there saw me with cards. And why do you have cards? And I was like, I'm a magician. I showed him a few tricks, and he goes, I think you would do really well. So shout out to Mike Tiggs. He told me, it's like, yeah, you should do clubs. Like, I want you to do it in my brunches. So it was last year, September 26th was actually the day. And I remember the day because I was born October 26th. The number's easy. I go to Noah's in Elizabeth, and I do the brunch there. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. And restaurant magic is very different than normal magic because of just the atmosphere, the environment, certain tricks you might do. And I have this one trick that's kind of gotten me some credit. A lot of people like it's with a condom. I'm not going to do that one on the podcast today, unfortunately, but essentially people pick a card, and a card shifts into a condom in front of their eyes.
Insane. Visually.
And I have videos of that on my socials, and then the condom itself is sealed. You could look at it, inspect it. There's no holes. There's no, anything. And they rip it open, and inside is the card that they chose. And my friend tells me, he's like, if you're going to go to a restaurant, don't do the condom one. It's not appropriate. And I brought it just in case. And the first thing he does is he brings me to this table. He's like, do the condom one for these people. And I was like, okay, anything goes in these gigs. Yeah. And I do that. And Mike was, he did Noah's then. He doesn't do Noah's now. And he did Mad Hatter in Hoboken too. So he's like, hey, come to Mad Hatter. I'll introduce the people, show them what you got. I come in, and 10 minutes, and the guy goes, I want you every Friday. That's it.
Done deal.
Yes, I come in, I get put on the payroll every Friday from like November or like October, November-ish till like February. I'm every Friday at Mad Hatter Hoboken. Starting to build my repertoire, getting some content, getting some videos. It's going well. And then February, like business slows down towards that time of year, so I stopped. And I just kept going out, just networking. I was like, I want to do more shows. And I told Mike, I was like, hey, like anywhere else. And he got me at this place in Elizabeth called The Garden. Mm-hmm. And they had me there for like about another 6 months. I was there every Saturday and Sunday, which was nice to have double bookings where it's like, they didn't have me on a time. They were like, their marketing is very weird. They don't make flyers or advertise me, which at first I was like, well, that's kind of annoying. But at the same time, that works in my benefit because if you do a flyer, you're expected to be there. So if you post like magicians coming 6 to 7, like I have to be there. So if someone else wants me 6 to 7, I have to say no. But with this, it kind of worked out because I had like the opportunity. As long as I went there, I was able to get my money. Yeah. So I didn't really have a set time. It was kind of between like 2 when people are actually there till like close. So I was getting like times where someone would book me, and I would just go from that show to the restaurant or go to the restaurant at my show, and I was able to double up.
Oh, that's awesome.
And work it. I was like, this is kind of cool.
Do you have another job while you're doing all this right now, or is this what you're like? Yeah, this is how you're making money?
So I did. I graduated in 2021, spring of 2021, and then I started a full-time job at Bloomberg as an index analyst in September. I've been doing that since, and then I took some time to kind of like break. I wanted like a different role, and I had like a few interviews. I'm in like a few rounds for that. It's kind of like waiting to start something new this year, but there's like a few more stages left, so I'm not sure where I'm going to end up. And like the last few months, Magic has been able to keep me above the table, which is good.
That's awesome.
My expenses have been getting higher in a bad way because I buy stupid stuff. But I told him, I explained myself because I'm going to turn that stuff into content. And like all the stupid stuff I bought, I actually didn't open. And now I'm opening it and posting on a separate channel for a different brand. And it's gaining traction, so maybe it might be worth it. So Magic's been doing that. And then I just continued to kind of do it. So I would say 3 years ago is when I like did that trick in Italy and started Magic. And of those 3 years, how long have I been doing Magic? Like 2 of the 3 years, I just was done with it completely. And so like the last year has really been where it really picked up.
Yeah. So you start landing in Mad Hatter and Hoboken, and you start doing that continuously, and then you get a couple other gigs. Then it starts turning. Where does it turn to where you're doing the magic for all these celebrities? Because now they're not going to like Mad Hatter and all those spots, right? They're at certain places. So where does it kind of take a turn to where you get into doing it for the celebrities at these other locations?
Yeah, I guess the curiosity came. I'll tell you, like, right now, if you want to meet a celebrity, you got to go to New York.
Yeah, that's
and,
a spot.
and it's everywhere. And I wasn't really thinking of targeting it. I did collect Pokemon cards. And so I do, like, a lot of different things. There's conventions for that where I attend. And so one of them wanted to keep it vintage, and they had Vanilla Ice there. And he sang the theme song for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So they had him come up and, sang some of his songs. And because I do those conventions, I met Vanilla Ice. I was like, okay, cool. And then I went to the convention again. I met Vanilla Ice again. After 3 times, I was like, okay, I'm kind of tired.
You got Vanilla Ice 3 times, baby.
Like, I see Vanilla Ice. He's good and all, but I that's enough for me. I've done a lot of tricks for him at this point. I got videos, and people don't want to see that. But it was cool. It's like a celebrity that has to put a name under. Then there's other conventions someone would tell me to. There's like this convention called Exotica. It's like a kind of like a sexual education convention.
Okay.
But there's a lot of porn stars and cam girls that attend, a lot of big names. And, I went last year just to see what is this convention. It's in Edison, like their biggest one. They do 4, like Miami, Chicago, D.C., and Jersey. But the biggest one they do is New Jersey, in Edison,
New Jersey.
Edison, New Jersey.
Let's go.
And I was like, hey, like, let's check this out. And
That's
I'm going,
hilarious, yeah.
I'm networking. Anytime I see someone with the mic, I stop them to do a trick. I'm like, I'm just going to go crazy with
I was
this.
going to say, when you go to the conventions, and then you how do you approach the person, because they might be doing their thing, they might have things going on, or is it kind of like at those things, it's more like a meet and greet, like you're able to approach them?
Oh yeah, so it's like, they have like their stations to talk and take photos with fans and pics. And me, like, I'm not a fan. I don't know who they are. I'm just doing magic for anyone there. So I'm doing it for the girls, for the crowd there. I'm doing it for anyone that can. I'm trying to get my name just out there anywhere I go. And it worked, because then I emailed them. I was like, hey, like, what do you think about having a magician? And they're like, we remember you. We know who you are. Do you want to perform in D.C.? Can you do a stage show? And I'm a close-up magician. I walk around. I do that. I don't really do stage. Now I can. Back then, never even tried a stage trick in my life.
Yeah.
So they say, can you do a stage trick? And I email them in 5 minutes. Yes, let's do it. Because I'm just going to figure it out later.
Yeah, dude, I love how it's like, you're just the opportunist. Like when someone gives you the chance, you're just like, yes, and then you'll figure it out. Like you can't miss the opportunity. That's a big thing, though. You can't miss the opportunity to, when it comes up, because it's not always there. So you've been saying that a few different times, and I know it's like, when somebody presents an opportunity, and even if you're not like so ready for it, I think you just dive into it,
So, and like the other thing is, for me, like, which we'll get to later in this podcast episode, is that opportunities don't just come, and like they come from another one. So it's like, I take this opportunity, and when I go there, that might be where I get another opportunity. Yeah. So this opportunity is not coming if I do. So now I'm missing like a series of them. I kind of have to go to everything in a way. Now it's like, once you build that right network, you're calmer, because these people will invite you to everyone. But when you're just someone, they invite you to this one, they're not going to invite you to all of them.
Yes.
And when you get closer with them and you build the relationships, then they just always kind of let you know. So I was like, sure, I'll go to DC. And I got to go to DC for a weekend and got to do a stage show. And, I put together, I only had to do 15 minutes, but I promise you, if you ever stay on a stage for 15 minutes, that is long.
Long time, yeah.
I was recording myself with the routine I thought would be perfect. And I looked at the timer and it said 7.5 minutes.
Yeah.
I said 7, and I'm like pausing extra long. I'm pretending people are clapping. I was like, 7.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow. But it worked out really. I think there was probably like, I couldn't count, but at that time, because it was earlier in the day, before it's filled, I think still there's at least 100 people.
That's great.
Something.
Yeah.
I was like, this is cool. Like, I liked it. And now with them, with that convention, I have the connection. They like, the past one was when they came to Jersey, my friends were like, hey, can I go? And I had a guest list. I was like, it's kind of cool. Like, I can like help people go. Like, if they want to check it out, they see, like, my friends like, yo, I'm about to buy a ticket. I was like, let me send one text.
Yeah.
And I was like,
awesome.
don't buy a ticket. Find this lady. Say your name. Say her with me. And I was helping friends. And then my curiosity to celebrities just came from, I heard Fashion Week was in town. I'm looking up randomly and I see New York Week Fashion Week. I was like, that sounds like a cool thing. Like, I don't know much about fashion, but a runway would be kind of fun.
New York and fashion, I mean, that's it right there.
Yeah, I'm like, I want to go to Fashion Week, and I don't know anyone, but let me try to do some tricks just to get events. And I'm only doing this, I don't care about celebrities. I'm not looking to meet people. I just want to experience like a Fashion Week for that. And like these prices for things I saw were like so expensive. I'm like, see what my magic can do for me. And I'm going into these events, and I just started going out in New York a little bit. I used to go to Brooklyn Mirage, which I like electronic music, and I was hanging out by like, they had like this artist village, and it's blocked by security. That's where like the trailers are for the artists. And you know, when I go, I meet people. I meet everyone, and I'm friendly. Like I like making friends in the crowd. I like making friends with the staff because the venue I'm gonna be at. Like, why wouldn't you want to know like the security in them? Like they don't have pull, but I don't need anything. I just literally just wanted to say hi. Like when I come by, I say hi, and like they work long hours.
Yeah, just strike up a conversation.
Yeah, like I'll like say like, hey, like, do you want a water? So like one time, one guy was like, I'm kind of hungry, but I'm not allowed to leave work. I was like, I'll just go get you. So like, I just went to the court. Brian, I was like, you're hungry. You can't. You can eat. You can't leave your stuff. So I brought the food to him.
Yeah.
So I helped him out.
They always appreciate that when you hook them up with stuff like
and
that.
They started getting like sometimes they were just like the artists would just be out in the open and they were just like, let me see, and they would like go up and ask the artist like, hey, you want to see a trick? Magic's like interesting, and they're like, sure. And I started meeting like a lot of my favorite DJs in the summer, and I met like a small network of people, and I think one of the bigger ones that helped was that there was a Vintage Culture concert. And he's like a very famous Brazilian DJ. Not a lot of people know him, but like on Instagram, he's got like 8 million, like a crazy amount. DJs, most of them have a couple 100K, not even.
Yeah.
It's like 8 million. And he's Brazilian, so it's big like Latina community kind of thing. And, you know, I'm going and I'm doing magic. And by that time, like some of the people that work there know me, but I never ask them. That's like my one thing. Like, how do you get that? I'm like, the reason I get things is because I never ask anyone for everything. Like even the people.
Dude, that's huge. Yeah, because just going back to what you said about how like, oh, they were at their post and you brought them food or whatever because they couldn't leave, but they were hungry. Then like they're more inclined to just like help you out because you helped them out without asking for anything in return. It was kind of just like a good gesture. Yeah. So they kind of get a feel for who you are as a person, as opposed to just you doing something like to get something out of it, you know?
Yeah, that was cool. And like by that time, you know, now it's like I can just hang around them. And just hang around means I'm already in proximity. And like I like hanging with them, like I'm talking to them. Like I don't really care. Like of course, as a magician, I would love to get the artist. I'm a big fan. But if it doesn't happen, like I'm happy because I'm just hanging with them. Like we're boys. And by that time, like more people that work there are starting to know me. Still not asking, no one's giving. But then one of the guys, there's like this one guy who works there who like had like tends to always have a group of girls when I see him. He always brings them back, and he was like come to the back to like the artist village. I'm like, buddy, you know I need a band. I was like I can't go with you because the security guard's kind of tired of this guy's stuff. I don't want to say his name because I don't want to like but like
of course.
I was like, you know I can't go back there without a band. He just pulls one out of his pocket.
Let's go.
So I'm like, all right, I'm in the artist tent. So the artist tent is just like this area where the artists hang out. You can't go on stage or backstage. You need a special band for that. But I'm there and I'm doing my tricks, and this girl sees me doing tricks and she goes, "Are you doing magic? Show us stuff." So I was like, "Sure, I'm going to show tricks right now." So I come up to her, I start doing a trick, and as I'm doing a trick for this girl, a guy walks up to her, gives her and her friends, and because I'm standing there, gives all of us backstage bands. It turns out that the one girl that asked me for a trick was the niece of the manager of the artist.
Okay.
So the moment I start doing a trick, he sees me just next to them, and because I'm there, he brought bands for all of them. I have a backstage band. Like I can go on stage as he's playing. I'm like, this is crazy. And that's like the only time I've ever been on stage at Mirage. But I was like, this is so cool. It was sold out too. The venue is massive. I don't know if you see pictures.
Oh, Mirage is unbelievable.
Oh, it's amazing. And so like the people are going, I'm on stage right now. It is sold out. This is insane. And I met, I have my cards, and this other girl. I don't do magic for just girls. It just happened there's a sequence of girls.
It's just where it started.
Yeah,
just where it started.
This girl's like, "Why do you have cards?" And I do tricks, and her fiance comes up, and I show him tricks, and he was like, "I like your energy. I want you to come to my events." And he works for a company called Tech Support, who also has a bunch. And I was like, "Sure." And like my fashion week started off was like, we're throwing a big party for Tech Support for Fashion Week coming up. So I went into New York, and then every day I'm looking for events in New York, and I even like met a designer who was like, "You want to model?" And so my endeavor to like New York and like doing DJs, I'm slowly meeting people, and like people are seeing me. So instead of the people that if I were to need to ask people for stuff, like I know like I could ask anyone, they wouldn't think I'm asking them or any of that. These people are the ones that are like starting to see me and recognize me more and more. They see me here, they see me there, they see me with these other people, and they're kind of like accepting me more. And they're like, oh, like this is like the big deal. And like the showing face, I really learned like that really talks in the industry. And so he invites me there. I go there. I get to walk a runway. I was like, I wanted to go to Fashion Week to go to an event, and now my 8-day plan has become me wanting to go to a runway. I'm on the runway.
Yeah,
it's like this is cool. Now I have like a fashion network, and now I'm having more and more people meet me, and I'm going out to more and more venues and more clubs. I'm meeting the club, and I was like, hey, like I do nightlife magic. I do bars, and everyone's like, okay, like that's cool. I like it. And sometimes like come to this event, come to that, but they're still not seeing what I'm trying to sell. And then, as I would love to go out every single night, but I need to, make the money for it because these are long nights and it's tough. But as a magician, like I know the value I could provide. I have, videos from it. The few celebrities and the artists I've done was there, and I'm pushing it. And I'm slowly making my way. I keep coming out. I keep getting to a point where, like, I know people now. Like, I go up to, like, clubs, and they know me at the door. I don't have to wait in line. They're like, are you by yourself? And usually I am. Like, yeah, just go right in. They tell security, like, oh, this guy works here.
Yeah.
I was like, sure. So I keep going, and now I'm, like, seeing celebrities. Now I'm, like, thinking, how do I get to a celebrity? Sometimes my friend, like, the staff lets me just go to, like, the section, and I try. Sometimes it's, like, it's crazy as, like, if I know a celebrity, I put, like, on my sign, like, those signs girls do, like, play Bad Bunny.
Yep.
Like I had an opportunity. I was like, I was at a
oh
club.
yeah, they hold those up all night to the DJ.
Yeah,
all night.
I always thought that's so annoying, and it definitely is. And
if you ask the DJ, it's very annoying.
And I'm at this club called Somewhere Nowhere, which is actually a club I have a residency at now, so it's actually cool. And like now I went from like not being able to get in there to I'm now work there as a magician. And my friend was DJing, so he's like, come with me, come hang out. And Jaden Smith was supposed to come that night. I was like, I need to do magic for Jaden Smith. I don't know how. I need to figure this out. Like, I'll figure it out. But I'm with the DJ, so we have like a table right by the stage, so we're very close. And the girls are doing their typical signs, but Jaden's reading them. Like a girl's saying it's my birthday, and he's like, happy birthday. And another one's like, I love you. He goes, I love you too. And mind you, like when it's a celebrity appearance like this, they're here, they're in and out. So they're going to come on stage 10, 15 minutes, they're going to dip. Like they're not usually hanging out with a table and like you could see them, which a lot of like rappers and other people do that I've seen recently, but like the feature ones, they come in and they're out. Like that's like the only time you have is those 15 minutes and they're on stage, there's no shot, I do imagine. Like how do I get Jaden Smith to notice me 10 minutes and it's not even 10 minutes that I could work with. So I see he's reading the phones. Screw it. I'm a magician. Can I show you a trick? And I'm right by the stage. Like, you can't miss my phone.
Yeah.
You look around the whole club, the one phone that's probably the easiest to read is mine. That's how close. He sees it, runs right to me. Everyone gets their phones out. He sits down. I'm like, this is happening.
Here we go.
And I already had a whole trick plan because I already knew, well, if I'm doing it, this is the one I'm doing. I had the trick plan. I was like, I wanted him to get a specific card. Sometimes there's tricks that require that, and I couldn't find it, so I'm, like, stuttering a bit. I'm like, just talk through it, find that card. Do it, got that video, and I was like, boom, and like I was getting some press there, so I like started reaching out to people, like, hey, like write this article, or what do you think? And they're like, some writers were like, I like the article, but I'm really busy. Unless you write it up yourself, like I'm not. And then I was like, why not? Like I'm gonna do it. I wrote the article, and I was like, sent it to the writer. I was like, what do you think of this? And I'm not a terrible writer. I was decent at it. He's like, okay, I like it. I'll publish it. I want full credit. This is my article. You didn't write it, because he wants to show his boss. I was like, you published me with Jaden Smith. It's good, because I want to eventually show the owners of the clubs, like, hey, I'm at your club doing magic for Jaden Smith. And one of the guys, the camera guys, like, there's an event tomorrow, and it was at the Williamsburg Hotel, which is a place I had a residency. I was doing like the summer parties there, so I like knew that place well. I could just kind of go in, and I know everyone. And I knew that the owner was going to be there. So I come up to him. I got introduced to him by the videographer, and I created a custom trick for him. And the first thing I do to this owner is like, here's a custom trick of you, and here's a video of me and an article of me doing magic for an A-list celebrity in your club. He's like, okay, let's talk.
Yeah.
I was like, that's the best introduction you could make.
Yes.
So from there, he gave me an opportunity, and I started working there. Once, it was kind of like a proof of concept type of thing. Once I used to tell people I can do clubs. Yeah, we like that. But when I told them the thing I would pitch to their club, when I started telling them I'd do this at other clubs, and that they knew very well, they're like, oh, okay. I remember one time, and this is another residency that's coming, a summer club in New York City. I was at like a birthday party for one person at a club called Nebula. We had like a table. And one person that I just met that night, now he's a very good friend of mine. I told him, I was like, I could do magic at summer club. And he kind of like, was like, yeah, you could, but obviously brushing it off. And then I told him, like, Williamsburg Hotel, which is very similar. They're both rooftop pool parties in the summer, very nice, same kind of vibe. I told him, I do magic there in the weekend. As soon as I added that sentence, I saw his like face change, like, let's do this.
Yeah.
It went from like, I like it to let's do it, and now I'm planning to be working there in the summer, which is a really nice
it's
club.
awesome. So when you're doing all these tricks and you're going, so first question I have actually is, you talk about doing that magic trick for Jaden, right? Do you have a set trick? Because you talked about the card and all that. Is there a set trick that you had been working on or that you have in mind when you're going to these clubs to try to make sure you have it ready to go? Or is it at this point you have like a variety of tricks that you could kind of choose from?
Yeah, so we all started with the DJs, and I'm getting to do magic for them. And I'm like, that's cool, but I'm just a magician. I want them to remember me. And if they see me, I want to be the best one. So now I started making custom tricks for each DJ. So I make up a variety of them, customized. And then I said, no, that's not enough, because now you're going to remember me as the magician, but you're still remembering me compared to everyone else. You still don't know my name, still don't know who I am, and like whatever the trick is, you could forget it. So it's like, okay, how do I make it personalized? So now I started making with props, like even as small as a playing card, but a custom card that I know that they're going to keep. People love cards. When you do magic, there's just like, even if you just do a simple trick where someone signs a card, people like it so much, they keep that card. And like years later, I've only been doing this for 3 years, so I don't know, but I have a lot of magicians tell me like, hey, years later, people come up to you and say, this card you signed, I still have it. It's just a card. It's not special. It's just, they like it that much and it's impactful. So it's like giving something in magic is huge to me. And I try to do any trick I can. I do it with things I think people would like, and I give them out at the end. And like that just doubles. That's like a magic trick on its own. It's like this guy just gave you something you like for free. It's like it could be a terrible trick, and
it gives them something to remember as well. Like kind of brings them back to that feeling you had when you did the trick for them.
Yeah, exactly. So they never want to forget it. So I'm like, okay, now I got to give out stuff like that. And then I started coming up with custom tricks where I started customizing it for the artist or something if I knew it ahead of time, and I branded it as well. I put my logo in it so people can always see. I know they're going to keep it because it's them. It also has my name on it, so in a way they're keeping my name. It's like a free business card that they will never lose. But then that wasn't enough, because now I was getting celebrities, but sometimes I would go to like a club and maybe there's a celebrity there, but there were other ones that would visit or be friends with them. And I'm like, okay, this is the problem. What if I'm in a place with a celebrity I didn't know was going to be there, but I want to do my custom tricks? I don't want to do a trick for them. Like I don't want to settle for just a trick because I didn't know that. I want to do my same thing on the spot. How can I come up with something where they're there, and from the time I see that they're there to the time they leave, which, you know, it's not usually that 15 minutes with Jaden Smith, how can I come up? So I came up with my own little system for new tricks that I do, and I could see like the videos I watch of myself, the transition from the custom, the prop, how I make it, what I used to make it, which is like one of my like secrets. It's like so cool. Now I have pretty much any time I'm prepared. Like I'm always going to pre-prepare the things for the ones I know, because it's just easy, but I have something ready if someone else is there that I'm not sure of. And that actually worked really well, because I did the phone thing. I've only done the phone thing 3 times. 2 to rappers, 1 to an athlete. The rappers both said yes. It was Jaden Smith and it was French Montana. It worked with both of those, which are great names. The one that said no was RJ Barrett of the Knicks, but he was just kind of like hanging out at his table. Like I knew he probably wouldn't.
Doing his thing.
But I never tried it with athletes. I was like, why not? You know what I mean? Said no, it's okay. Like I'm still hanging out. That was actually, no, I don't think that was the French Montana night. It was someone else, but it was fun. And so I'm there, and I did the French Montana one. I hold up the sign, and his boy sees, he taps him on the shoulder. They look at it, and he kind of laughs. And I'm like, they think I'm kidding. Oh, this is bad, because I'm not. And so I took the cards out of my pocket, and I'm holding up the phone and the cards.
And the cards together,
together. And like one of the girls that French Montana's with, she sees it. But now she sees the phone and the card, and she's like, okay, this is legit. She taps him, and she's like, she didn't even ask me. She was just like, come here. And I walked to the security guard, and I tap her. I said, look at that girl. She's going like this. She lets me in. This is so sick. I'm about to do a magic trick for French Montana. Like, I've been a fan of him for a while. And I didn't plan to do a trick with cards, but I dropped my cards right as I walked up into like a whole pile of alcohol. But I'm always prepared. Like, the thing about cards, they're paper. If I get them wet, they're done. There's no ways. But it was a good thing. Like, the trick I wanted to do was a custom one I had in mind that I hadn't tried. So, because I was doing similar custom tricks, I wanted like to diversify the content. So I came up with a new one I had never done that didn't need playing cards at all. And I actually posted it the other day, yesterday, on my Instagram and on my channels. And so I got to do that, and everyone was recording that. And as soon as I finished that, his creative director goes, I like what you just did. Like, let's talk. And then, I'm going to sell my pitch. I could do magic for anything. I could do it for a clothing brand. I can do magic with I can do a magic trick with just about any item, any object. And if I really think hard enough, I can. So if you're a restaurant, I'm going to tell you about the restaurants I've done and what I do. If you're a bar owner, I'm going to tell you that. And I have the experience. This is a creative director for a rapper. So I'm telling him I've done magic for other artists and album releases, which I've done similar stuff, but no one, like a French Montana. I haven't been in a music video of like
he's big time,
a big rapper or that, but I've done like work with like lyrics and like songs and played with that. So I told him like, yes, I've done this a lot, more than I really have. And he was like, let's talk. So he got my number, and I'm actually working on trying to get some videos for them for the album. So that's why I've been like posting about. I don't know if they're gonna use any of my footage, but we do hope to like record ideally soon. So maybe I'll still get to like record and either be part of the video or part of the team. But then it's cool. Like I could say I worked on French Montana's album.
Oh yeah.
And so like I'm really excited. And like they had like a private album listening party the other day. It was in New York, hosted by Hot 97, and I got invited to it. And it's cool. Like I walk in, it's the backdrop of the album saying like French Montana, Coke Boy 6, which is the name. And I was like, this is so cool. And I'm preparing like a Coke Boy 6 trick, because now I've been like spending about a month on like tricks related to the album. Only one song was out at the time. It's called Yes I Do, and talked about a lot of like spending money on rosé. So it's like tricks with money, tricks with champagne, doing that. And now all the other songs released, so I might think of more. But at the thing, I never even, I just like was so excited to just have fun. I didn't even consider the fact that the other artists featured on the album might be there.
Yeah.
And two of them were there. There was Kenzo B, who's like up and coming, and then Chinese Kitty, who's pretty big. She's got like 3.8 million on Instagram. I was like, this is what I was talking about. Like two celebrities here that I could do magic for that I didn't think of. So, but now I have that new system I came up with. The first, so I instantly prepared my Kenzo B one, and it worked out. She was in French Montana section, but she's up and coming. She's not someone that's going to get like attacked when she walks. So she'll walk to the bar herself with this guy named Viking, who I met at French Montana. He owns a record label. It seems I didn't notice it was him when he went. I just saw that she went, and like I'm very polite the way I do it, and it's loud, so I can just, I'm like, why don't you just write on the phone? Just say what it is. You know, you can't hear me. I'm not going to lean in. Show it on my phone. Like, I made you a special, unique trick for you. She's like, I'd love to. Can we record it? And the guy, Viking, who I didn't notice that, was the same guy that recorded the video of me with French Montana. He's like, oh, we love this guy. You're good.
Let's go.
It's like, yeah, let's record it for sure. So I got a video with her, and I was like, oh, I'm happy. You know, I got that. And then Chinese Kitty, I saw her leaving, and I was like, everyone's here for French Montana, not paying attention. But Chinese Kitty's got this crew, and I was like, this is my shot. Like, I gotta go. So I leave the venue. Like, she walks out on the street, and I will leave out. I go outside too, and I walk up, and obviously she's crowded, so I'm keeping a distance, and I'm like, hey, like, I don't want to bother you, like, Chinese. She's like, the guy's like, you could talk to them. I'm like, no, I am. Don't worry, whatever. And then I was like, I'm a magician, and that same guy that was holding me back goes, oh, I know this guy.
Yeah.
So this guy had seen me doing magic before. He just goes, oh, he's good. Don't worry about it. And just stopped. Their whole crew, like, no rush. They stop, and I got to do a trick for Chinese Kitty too, and I have that video that I'm gonna edit and post. I was like, wow, like I had that went and hold like that, like the just being there to like two celebrities I need because of my new idea. Like, this is exactly what I planned for.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. The idea of like the custom magic, as you're telling all these stories and talking about how you're kind of moving it, it's almost like a referral system. Like, people know who you are, they've seen you do it before, so it kind of validates it almost and allows other people to see it. But the whole custom thing is sticking out to me because I feel like it's what you said before in the midst of the story is like, there's so many magicians out there that could come up to these celebrities and try the magic trick. But I think what's separating it the most is the fact that it's customized to them, because then they really remember. And also, what's it like, I guess, when you do a trick like that for a celebrity and then you see their reaction? Like, it's got to be pretty like exciting every time you do it.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's like I don't ever really get nervous, and just in those moments I have like that building of a sight, but like I'm trying not to like smile like crazy and loud. I'm like, it doesn't get old. Like, that feeling for me, I have like now like a good amount of celebrities on my belt, and I post like all the photos and I look through the albums. Like, this is a lot. And even if I had like 50, every single person just cool, like, oh, another one. Like, it just feels like an accomplishment, and it's so exciting. And it's just like so cool. Like, I love seeing their reactions. It's like, I know they're gonna like it because I believe in my ability. I believe in like the way I perform. I think a lot of magic, the best magic comes from like, it doesn't matter what trick you do. It's just about how you present yourself or how you present the trick. And like, one example of that is like, a lot of times girls have like butterfly tattoos or like roses, and so like I carry with me like fake roses or butterflies. And sometimes it's as easy as like, when you're a kid, someone pulls out a quarter out of your ear, you go crazy. But if you think about that, if you can make an adult react like a kid that just got a quarter pull, that's the best reaction you can get.
Yeah, 100%.
That's so genuine, pure happiness. Like, that's what I want to do. And then I took that idea. I was like, why don't I just turn that trick into an adult trick? Like, why can't I pull a quarter out of someone that's fully grown's ear and make them have that same reaction?
Yeah.
And it's because it's too simple. I was like, I think it's too simple. You could always do it. So I started like making it more personal. Like people have like a butterfly. So there's like one of the famous DJs. Her name is Nostalgics, and I posted this video the other day. She had a butterfly tattoo right on her arm. So I asked, "What is that?" And like asking because you're getting to know the person. And she started telling me that it means a lot to her because it's for her grandma. And I have my butterfly. Pull a butterfly off of her butterfly tattoo. I was like, it's almost like your grandma's always with you.
Damn.
And then I handed her the butterfly, and she was so happy. And it's the same thing, really. Pulling my butterfly that I have off of her arm because she has a butterfly, and pulling a quarter. It's the same exact. It's literally the same move.
Yes.
But I'm doing it to adults and getting those reactions, and it's just amazing. So,
dude, it's so crazy because I'm drawing a line to, I'm used to running Reds and everything, and it's like I'm drawing a line to like hospitality because. I mean, that's what it is. You're catering to somebody, right? But it's cool to hear it from your perspective and the way you do it, like as a magician. Because when someone comes into Reds, like I always wanted to make that person. I never greeted anybody as like a customer per se. It was always like as if they were going to become my friend. Because when you have a restaurant, a bar, or something like that, or even a club, I think a lot of the times people come back to places over and over again is because they really resonate with a feeling they had when they were there, which is drawing me right to the part of when you do this trick for somebody and they get that feeling, it brings them back to that. And so like it's almost like hospitality because when someone comes to Reds, I want them to feel good. I want them to feel like they're family there, and then it creates kind of like a community. And just hearing it from a magician's perspective, like you're literally tailoring it to that person specifically, which is an angle that I really don't think a lot of magicians may be doing, or it's something that I'm not really that familiar with. So to hear that to me is like super interesting.
Well, yeah, of course. I don't think magicians do the custom thing because for them it's like, we have our tricks. Like when I do my shows, I have my tricks that I'm just doing. And like honestly, when I first started magic, like people say, "Did you look up to magicians?" Like, well, my story is I created a random trick and I just went with it. And like honestly, I was really busy to like practice like really hard sleight of hand and that, and honestly my sleight of hand isn't the best out of magicians, but to me it's it doesn't matter because there's magicians that are technically way better than me, but people choose me for the shows because that's how I interact with the audience. It's all come to me as a person. And so like from my start I was always targeting getting people's reactions, getting that. So now it's like my magic's getting better, my sleight of hand's getting better, but my brand is built on, I started with the hospitality aspect of it and I've only built on that. It's this way. It's like I'm more than a magician, right? So like I don't want to be someone that does magic. I'm Josh. They love Josh. Josh is awesome, and then Josh also does magic, which doubles it. So at the end of the day, it's like the same thing with Reds. Like Reds isn't a bar, and like that's one of the things you did with the culture shock with COVID. Reds wasn't a bar, right? There's Queens, there's pub. There used to be like Golden Rail, I think it was called.
Yeah, now it's back open.
There was bars, but like why did Reds do so well? It's because Reds isn't a bar at all. Reds serves alcohol. Reds was like a home.
Yes.
People were coming to the home. The community was good. The crowd was good. Everything was good. And that's the hospitality. You made it into a place that people would enjoy being first. Like they didn't, like if people wanted to go out and drink, like they didn't care. When you just want to drink, you just want to get alcohol. Yeah. And so when people wanted to go and drink alcohol, they weren't thinking, where are we going to go? They knew it would be Reds because their most important thing when they go out is they want to have fun. They want to enjoy it with their friends, want a good time. And that's what Red was made. It made the culture.
Yeah.
It was Reds as like a home for people at Rutgers first. And they also did want to drink, and there's the alcohol. Everyone over 21 got it.
Damn, that's a really good point. The way you just explained that too, like about how you're Josh, and then you also do the magic, and then Reds becoming the home. That's a really good parallel to draw. And yeah, I really worked hard to do that actually, and I'm glad that when people found out who I was like as a person, and I got to know them, one-on-one and become friends with them, that's when it really took off. Because then they were like, okay, this place is awesome. Like what Red is doing, like that's really him, and this is who he is, and hospitality is kind of part of who he is as a person. And so it worked out well. And, I'm upset that obviously, now the podcast we're doing, it's closed, obviously. I just announced it. But to see all the love I got on the post, announcing the closing. And, of course, it was because of the pandemic. So if anybody's wondering, I'll go into detail on it another day. But, just to see all the love that everybody showed on that post when I posted that it was closed, it felt good. It felt good because I really tried hard to make sure it was not just a bar or like a club. It was somewhere that people could go and feel like they were part of that establishment as family, not just customers. And so it's cool to hear you say that as well. And it's a great parallel.
It's the relationships you build. Like for me as a magician, it's kind of the same way because now, one of the things that's hard is like when we work in college area for you, it's kids graduate, like the best people. But because they didn't grow, grew to Reds the brand, which is you. Now it's like, you know, you're opening up a bar in Meadowlands. Any project you do, all those people are gonna come.
Yeah,
because they know it's you. Versus like other bars that just do well in college, people just know them as that college bar. Unless someone's visiting college, they're not really gonna go.
it's so true, and you alluded to that too in your story before about how you were saying it's the relationships, and you just stated it again now. The relationships to me are worth more than any amount of money you could make. Like, because no matter what, because then there may be a case where like the bar closes like it is now, but all the people I met throughout that year and that fall when we first met, you know, when you came in, that was just nuts. I mean, every single night. It was just after that whole year of COVID and, you know, the brand had built, and it was like we were seeing what was happening through building all those relationships. And then now, you know, you look at it and it's closed, and it's like it doesn't matter because all the people I met throughout, you know, the way, now I'm going to see them when I go out. I was already seeing them at DJs because they all come down the shore in the summer, which you were saying you got to do more of. This summer we're going to run it. This summer 100. But you're right. The relationships, I mean, those to me are priceless. And I was talking about that actually with Jason Keats the other day. He's a big time DJ, and he owns his own business, event company. He's got a couple other things he does too. He's great. He does a lot. And we were just talking about how the whole relationships really are what mean the most, you know. And it's like the amount of money you make and all that from those type of things is great because again, the money just comes as like a byproduct to building what you want to build and doing it right. The relationships are something that can last forever, and so that's a really good point you made. But I want to go back to, you know, going to these clubs and these bars, and obviously you're at the point now where you're doing it for these celebrities, and it's cool to hear how you were able to put yourself, you know, in that position. But my question was, while you were saying all that, is, were you thinking to going the route of like clubs, and now you talk about having a residency as a magician at clubs and bars and stuff like that, which is not something that I would even think of, right? Like, but you could see how entertained everybody is. And again, we talked about that feeling that they get once you do the magic. Was that a route you were looking to go from the beginning, or when did it click in your mind? Like, was it just like, okay, all these people are at these places, this is where I should go to get my name out there?
Yeah, well, that's my brand from the beginning, is people never think to, you know, if you're opening up a restaurant, you're not putting a magician on your most wanted list. And the same thing with like every type of client I have, even weddings. You know, weddings are big for magicians, but no one ever thinks we got flowers, we need to get the rings, we need the magician. No, it's one of those things where everything I've ever done is just, you know, I tell people they need it, because once they hear it, now they're like, that would be really cool, like that would I like. And before it was just like a pitch. Now it's not a pitch for me. You know, thankfully I've gotten a lot of articles written about me in pretty good publications. I have a lot of videos, a lot of celebrities to show for, a lot of different places that I've performed at, like my past residencies, my current. And it's just one of the things that every type of show I did, even before the clubs, was like, I'm going to show you that this would be great for you. I can, you know, at restaurants, like the thing about the brand I say is, like, once you have someone enjoying your brand, right, you want them to enjoy it all the time. You don't want them to like, I love Reds right now, let me study, and that you want them to like, while they're studying, like they don't get distracted from study, but you want that brand to stick
which happened a
people.
lot.
And so for me, it's like I tell brands, like it's like I can get people, like if you're having me on your team, now it's not my brand working, I'm working with your brand to get that. And like, for example, like a restaurant, what do people hate at restaurants? Waiting for their food. So there's a disconnect. They come to the restaurant so excited, you know, they order their food, they're waiting. No one likes waiting. It doesn't matter how good the food, they still are excited, but they don't like waiting, and then they get their food. So there's that time, whether it be 5 minutes, whether it be 30 minutes, if it's a really busy, there's a gap where people are not focused on your brand as a restaurant, because, you know, that's just the gap they have. And they can kill the time with talking, they can enjoy, they're not going to complain or say, but I can get them focused because there's a magician at this restaurant here to fix that gap for you. And so that's what I do. Is like, now they're coming in excited. They don't know a magician. Now they forget, you know, they no matter what's going on in your lives, when I perform, like every person gets like a focus of reality. Like they're zoned in for that time of performing. So now their experience goes from, we were so excited, we waited, then we got our food and it was killing, to it's just continuous. They came in excited. They had a great show. The food came, and like I go till the food comes. Like sometimes I just end my show. I'm like, and now I'm going to do the best trick of all, your food's here. Yeah. And they didn't even realize that they were waiting. And like, that's the thing. It's like it's like, I find the gaps for businesses, you know, if it's like a restaurant, it's pretty easy to do. But I tell them, like, this is where there's not a disconnect, but if you add that connect, it's just going to grow. And so when I got to clubs, like, I like going out. I like partying. I don't drink really at all. I just like being out. And like, it's very fun seeing electronic dance music. You meet like, it's one of those like places where you go out and the person next to you is a doctor, the person next to you is a lawyer. You network with like the whole world at a show like that. So for me, I just really enjoy going out, and I know, you know, my brand in nightlife is not being a promoter. It's not getting people there. It's not this. It's just I can make people feel a certain way, and so I want to be around clubs because I like that atmosphere. I like the good music. I like partying. I like, you know, dressing up. I'm like always wearing a blazer. It's like every single day I'm getting a new blazer because that's just what I wear. It's my style. I like the pockets. I have an index system. Like this deck is going in here. My normal deck is here. This is here. Like I have everything indexed. When I don't wear blazers in the summer, wow, maybe a fanny pack. It's like a one place, like the rave shows are the ones where fanny pack makes sense. But everywhere else I figure it out. And so I knew that that's what I want to do. I want to target. And I tell them, I was like, this is what I can do. And I have, you know, packages. I can just be your club magician. I'll do everyone. Or I could be like your VIP, right? It's hospitality. I'm a hospitality service, right? Think about it. If someone's coming to your club, they can go to any club and get the same bottles. They can get the same bottle girls. People go to a club because the hospitality is the connection they make with you. So now if they're coming in and paying for what they expect, the bottle girls, the service, people don't tell them I'm coming. That's the beauty. Some clubs pay me as their magician. People don't know that the magician has the club. And when I go to the table and give them that service, now it's like added hospitality. You got a free magic show, and it's just you. It's this table. And I've had like clubs call me, say, hey, today we have our big roller come in. I want you to come in. We'll pay you. Just do this table. And I come in, I do that table, and they love it. The guy's happy. His girlfriend's happy. Everyone's happy. And it's just amazing. So for me, it's that I came into clubs without the celebrity thing. I just wanted to be in nightlife. And this is what the value I bring to nightlife, and I knew I could sell it. And people were standoffish and that, but I kept going out. I'm still selling it, but it's working, and I'm getting like the right places and the right place or meetings for it. And now I'm doing the celebrities, and really the celebrity thing it's just so cool. Like I like it, you know, it's really fun. And one of the first publications, New York Weekly, wrote a feature on me. I see coming, and the title is Celebrity Magician. Okay, that's it. I'm a celebrity magician. Like, that's what I say that. I changed all. I
am a celebrity magician. Let's go.
And now, like, it's just like feels cool. Like at shows, like sometimes people introduce me, like, this is Josh, celebrity magician. Like I'd be brought around, and they say, this is, instead of, you know, like a year ago at Mad Hatter, like, this is our magician. If someone introduced me, people are like, celebrity magician. He's gonna show you, and like it's just such a word. Like the word celebrity, it's just like a throwing away like word. When you say celebrity, people are like, like,
yes.
You know, like when I say I'm a magician, everyone's like, yeah, I'm a celebrity. Huh. It's like intriguing.
No, it's true. And also what we were talking about, you know, the content, because you were saying you have been, you know, going hard on that recently, you know, getting the content out there. It's like when you have a celebrity in the content, involved in it, people are watching that. They love to see it. And then, and even like the person watching loves to see their reaction, you know? So it's
they
cool.
haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a cool angle to have as well. And it's very cool to hear the progression you made and how like you just kept going. And I think one of the important things to note too is like it's cool to see how successful you got, but you just started going to do the magic for anyone. You said that a few times. You're like, yeah, it doesn't matter who they are. And now it's just putting you in front of people that are celebrities that people know, that, you know, may not even know you, but then they see this and they're like, wait a second. They're like, French Montana's getting a magic trick done for him. Let's check it out. So it's cool to see how it all worked out. So we're gonna do some magic too, right? We got some stuff going on. You want to rip it or what?
Yeah,
what do we got?
Rip it. So one thing I like to start is I like a lot of animals, and you know, you're a beast.
Yo, let's go. That's all day. Let's go.
I want you to now for the camera they can't see. There is a post-it pad and a pen. The reason we're doing this is so he writes it down so you guys know whatever he chooses is his. But
I'll show him.
But I want you to think of any animal or any insect, and when you got it, I want you to just write it down.
Okay.
And we can show the camera after the trick because people might think I could see it.
Yeah, they might
so
think.
I got you a nice pad that can close. You can write it down and then just have it closed. Perfect. And this is also one of my newer tricks. This is one of, like, as a magician, now that I'm going hard with the content, one of the things I want to post a lot of different tricks as well. Like, there's tricks that I keep doing regularly, keep getting reaction. Of course, I'm going to keep posting those different videos, but I want people to see a variety. So I'm definitely going to work with this. So for this, we have you. So you've thought of an animal or an insect, yes, and you got it written down. Once it's written, it's committed to memory. A lot of times doing tricks like this, you know, you're always gonna have that person that wants to mess with you or that. Like even with magic tricks, like that wasn't my card, and you know we have cameras. So I was like, oh, was it? I was just like, oh, was it? Let me see. Let's see the video.
Let's see.
And they're like, okay, yeah, it was my card. So we do this to that. I know you're an honest guy, but you're thinking of an animal or an insect. Now, like I mentioned, you are a beast. So I don't think you chose an insect. I think you chose an animal. And since you're a big beast, very successful, I think it's probably a larger one. Now, when it comes to animals, there's land animals and there's sea animals, right? People usually jump to certain ones they think of. Like, for example, me, I grew up around a lot of reptiles. So for me, I might be naturally drawn to a turtle or a lizard. Other people get drawn to, like, my one friend I was performing for, I had him do this trick earlier, and he chose an ape. And that one was a little easy to guess because his fraternity, like the mascot's like an ape or something similar. But I don't think that Reds doesn't have an animal mascot. No. So this makes it a little difficult for me. I don't think it's something that attached. I think it's just an animal you might have thought of that's kind of cool. But I do think it's pretty large. Was that fair to say?
Yes.
It's a large animal. Okay. Now, it could be a land animal or a sea animal. Most times there's a way to differentiate what people are going to psychologically choose. This case, I don't know. I'm just going to have to take a guess. Is it a sea animal?
Yes.
It's a sea animal.
Yes.
Oh. Sometimes you just get lucky, right? But, okay, so if it's a sea animal and it's large, okay, I feel like it's a pretty strong animal. Would that be? I don't really know how to measure strength of sea animals.
Yes, it's got to be. It's got to be.
Yeah, yes. If it's a sea animal, it's like they're strong and they got to go through the water resistance. All right, I want you to think of your animal. And you like this animal. Have you ever seen one live?
I have not seen one in real life, no.
Well, I saw an animal recently on a trip that I was doing. I was doing a show out in Florida. Would it be crazy if the animal I saw was the same one that you choose?
Yeah, it'd be wild.
Yeah, so I was in Florida. I was in I think it was Orlando or Tampa area, and someone took me toward the water. They're like, "Hey, like this is a pretty cool place to watch the sunset." And suddenly we saw a manatee jump out. Were you thinking of a manatee?
Dude.
Oh, it was.
Camera's got it, buddy. How? First of all, you saw that in Florida?
Yeah. Sometimes like you get like seeings of them. Sightseeings, I hear.
That's what it was. How? That's interesting. I don't even know how you would even have known that it was that animal. Because first of all, that's not even like an animal that I commonly like think about. Like,
right? Yeah, I knew you were a tough read.
That's insane. This is where I get interested in the so-called like magic. It's almost like, I mean, you're reading a mind. Like, I'm not really sure how that's done.
I used to think the same way. I was like, I do magic, but I want to do more mentalism, which is what we just did. Which is, mentalism is like reading minds. And then, magicians weren't very helpful to me. They were like, if you want to do mentalism, just do the same thing in magic. I was like, what does that even mean? Like, this is not picking a card. And it didn't stick to me. And then I started playing with ideas. I was like, okay, how do I try to make it more like that? And so I kind of had to, there's books on mentalism in the magic world and the community share, but they're very tough reads. Like I can't even read a magic book, honestly. Like if someone gave me a book right now with all I know to learn a new trick, I would struggle. It's just not my cup of tea. Like I love reading. Yeah. I'm a very avid reader. You give me a good book or a good novel to read, I'll be great at it. But like the magic ones are tough. So I kind of figure them out on my own, or like with what I know, I put stuff together, or videos work too. A lot of people share videos now, everything's tech. So I started working with the mentalism, and yeah, now it's like, now I see what people mean. Now I've done like something like this, I'm like, oh, I see what they meant by magic. It didn't make any sense, but now it does.
It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. Yeah. But so in terms of, and you actually have like cards and stuff too to do like an actual trick too. But like going off the mentalist thing, where does it like switch to where you're doing just from a magic trick to doing something like this?
Yeah, so in my shows, I do a variety of the two. So trick to trick, like my first trick might be pick a card. My another one might be, something with a prop. Another one might be, hey, I saw a butterfly necklace. That's perfect. Let me pause right there. Or just the mental. Kind of just, I choose trick by trick, like what I feel like doing. So like right now for me, that trick is one of my newer ones that I've been practicing. I learned it yesterday, honestly. Like I knew about it for a year. I had someone get me like it's like pamphlets with like a bunch of stuff that I got, magic stuff, and that was in one of the pamphlets. But I bought it last year. I didn't even look at that pamphlet. I was like, I need new stuff. Let me look at this pamphlet. Pamphlets are a little easier.
Yeah,
it's a little less complicated and the wording simpler. I was like, okay, I like this. And I started trying it. So I read it yesterday. Today I did it to my friend. I did it to my mom, and I said, fuck it, I'm ready to do it today,
dude. And is it something where, like, when you start to learn how to do these things, like this is really interesting to me because you just know what they're thinking of. When you first do the trick, is there any like process where you go through like not being able to do it, or is it something that kind of clicks right away?
Yeah. So for magicians, this is where I become an unorthodox magician, and like my whole life has been unorthodox. When I knew one trick, I agreed on a show. I didn't do any stage agreed. Like that's what I do. prepared to do magic I'm not ready for, with a high chance of failure based on circumstances, and then I succeed. And the way it is because the way I always see it is like, if you're going to do a trick and you wait till you get it right, you will have a trick, and that's amazing. But what I used to do is like, I used to do tricks with sleights that I wasn't good at, had a good chance of getting caught, this and that. But the thing is, if you mess up, no one knows what trick is. From the progression we start to the end, you don't know what I'm going to do. You don't know what's going to happen next. And you definitely don't know that. You could have every single part, and the last part that's the ending, you still don't know it's the ending. And so for me, it was always, if I do a trick that I learned, I'm just going to go out and try it because I want to see how it goes. And if I do it, well, yeah, I'm ready to do it. I got it. If I don't do it, that's an even better opportunity because I can pivot. So now if I do a trick and I mess up, you don't know I mess up. Play it off, pivot, finish the trick. Still gets a good reaction because it feels like it's part of, there was never a moment where they thought I messed up. Mm-hmm. I know I messed up, but if I pivoted in a way where I was like, oh, I actually like that pivot, maybe I'll intentionally start pivoting that way. And now I have this trick that I just made from messing up and the actual trick itself. So now I have 2 tricks that I could work with. I just love like getting enough to a point where I'm like, okay, I got it. Let me try it. Like, I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to be good because I want to see if I'm at a point where I can get the great reaction. That's the video I need. That's the reaction I want. That's the impact I want to have. Like, I'm just gonna go try it. So with mentalism, yeah, it's tough. You know, they're thinking of something, right? With cards, people think he might be peeking. He has something. Like, there's something he can do with the deck. With mentalism, right? You're thinking of one thing, and if anything, I told you choose an animal. You could have chose any. There's so many choices. There's no way. There's no peeking. There's no that. You know, for that, you could easily get it wrong. Mm-hmm. But that's okay. You gotta. For me, I'm okay with being wrong. I can pivot off of it because honestly, I'll reveal it's not really a magic secret, but it's something like normal people do, and magicians do it too a lot. Like sometimes they'll just say like for example, number 7 is very, very popular. Mm-hmm. You ask someone name a number between 1 and 10, it's almost every time it's 7.
Mickey Mantle.
And so like people will like a magician might just have like an envelope, and it just has the number 7 on it. He just like puts it down. And obviously it's like, name a number 7, look at that envelope. Oh, that's amazing. And if you were like 6, you just don't mention the envelope. You just like 6. Okay. Well, that's it. So let's start the trick. And then just go into stuff. Because you don't know that I'm doing a trick. So in that case, like if you get it wrong, that's fine. If you got it right, it's a perfect match. You know, that's not how like card tricks work and everything. That's not what they do. Like that's not how all predictions are. They hope you get it and you're wrong. But like that's an example of like someone that's watching, right? Like, you can impress your friend right now. Tell them to think of a number 1 to 10 and just guess 7. And like anyone that's watching this tries it, like you're not a magician. Like if you get it wrong, who cares? But if you get it right, people are gonna look at you like that's kind of crazy.
Have you seen the guy on? There's a guy on TikTok that sometimes it pops up, and he does stuff like this, like the mentalist thing, and he'll write some things down, whatever, and then he'll tell you to pick a number, and then he's like double tap to lock it in, so you like the video or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he's like, your number was this or whatever, and then he's like, if you like it, you got to hit me with a follow. And I think he's been able to just build his following.
A lot of those, it's like social media loves that. And I'm like on that cusp of like, I kind of find that towards like a little cringy magic because like those kinds of things are not.
A lot of the times he's not getting it right for me. I'll say
a lot of them are like.
He does get it right sometimes, though. I'm not gonna lie.
There's like those videos, and they just do so well on social. Like I've seen magicians that had less followers than me, and you know they have millions and everything. But their videos are all like, I know your mom's name. Pick a color on the screen. Move 3 spaces down. Move that, and it's all a pattern that deduces it. But at the end of the day, they're like, you're on the red square. But the video started with, I know your mom's name. You didn't say a name at all. You just know where they ended up because it's like it's always gonna be that choice. It's like one of those things where it's like, pick a number, double it, add this, so that you're at 7 now. Well, mathematically, you can do that with every number.
Yes.
So a lot of those videos do it. And it's like, for me, it's not really magic. I don't post it, but you know, sometimes I'm like, maybe I should, because that's gonna get like a bunch. Because at the end of this, I see some magicians that blow up. Like they do very good magic and they post, but their videos do all right. And then the video like gets like 100 million views like this. So like this one guy, he did like this video, and now he like every other video of his is like this, and those are all the ones that get like 10 to 50 million views. He just like makes it look like he's doing a trick, and he just flips you off. and then in that video, like he had a bag. This is where it started. He had a bag, and there's a way to like make an illusion. So illusion could be in any way, visually or like audio. So he had an empty bag, and he went like he just shook it, and it made it sound like something from the sky. He went like that, and it made it sound like something fell into the bag. So now you heard a pop, like something landed. Now you're like, what's in it? And then he goes in and he flips you off. And that video hit like 100 million. It got like 100 million views, but it skyrocketed his channel.
Yes.
And like every day, he like this guy is a very great magician. Like, he's really good at sleight of hand. He's actually in Jersey.
Let's go.
Which is kind of cool. He's very good at Magic, very good at sleight of hand, but every so now he just does a different video of him flipping off the camera. Every time that video, like all his
Always
videos.
hits.
Yeah, now he has a ton of followers, so his videos are all like 50K, which is good because of his following, but every video to break like 10 million is always, he just flips him off. He's the middle finger guy.
It's cool. I was just saying this on the podcast with Jason Keats tonight, and I also mentioned it on the Tobias episode when I was talking about TikTok. It's cool that you're able to, without a following, post a piece of content that if it resonates with people and people like it, it'll skyrocket, like you just said. And then you kind of have an idea of the type of content you can push that people do like. So I do like it in that aspect, but also sometimes I'm wondering, why did this content go? But it's just what people like.
Yeah, and it's also very tough because if you know you have a video you could do that's going to get you a lot of followers, that's not always good. I've seen like several magicians, just other people, like they posted like they grew their following at first from like their magic or what they were doing, and then like they had a viral video of them like losing weight. And like I think that's very bad to post on your brand because you losing weight is a personal thing. That's not your brand thing, because if you're Reds and you're going from like 0 to like let's say you're at like 50K, like you got 50K people that love Reds bar, and then like say like you personally or someone was like very overweight and you share a video of them losing weight on the Reds bar account and that gets like 10-20 million followers, Reds count might go from 50K to like 200K, which sounds good in theory, but all that 150K is 3 times the followers all came for that guy losing weight. Yeah. Now that's all they care about is that. So next time you post a video of like the bar opening up or the homebrew, which is very good, I've heard that you make, and all of that stuff, you're not getting any engagement. You're getting way less engagement. Yeah. Because everyone that came to your channel came for that. And so like for me, that's why I never put any of my like personal, that's why I have Josh and JoshPele Magic. Post pictures with friends and people that doesn't go on my Magic account because I don't draw it in. And my TikTok, like, it's all magic tricks because I don't want a viral video that's not based on my magic because it's going to bring in all this. Like, there's accounts that, have like 100,000s of followers. They get 200 views because the 100,000 came from them posting their dog. And if you don't, if you're not a dog channel, that doesn't help you. So you got to, like, be very cautious with the type
that's a big thing, too. And even just talking about, like, the way when people, I was saying, again, on the podcast before this with Keats, I was like, people who are posting stuff that really isn't them. They're posting stuff just to get followers or whatever. And that example you gave wasn't really that. It's like maybe somebody posting them losing weight isn't just to get followers. Right. But you're right, and it's walking a fine line in terms of the brand you're building. You want to make sure that people are following and coming to the page to engage with the type of content you want to keep pushing. And that is a big thing, I think. And it's kind of, again with the whole TikTok thing, it gets very random sometimes. Like, you may post something like that and it could skyrocket, and then it skyrockets your page. But I kind of find it interesting because with Instagram, I really like the engagement between, the fact that, like, the followers, I always looked at it this way, is like my followers are people I know, and the people I'm following are my friends too. Like, it's people I know. So it's cool to keep up with them, and then they know the type of content I put out is truly me. But with TikTok, it's like you get all these random people that have no clue. So it's like you could just post a random video that has nothing to do with the content you've been putting out forever, and then it just skyrockets. And it's like, all right, maybe I'll just run with that. It's interesting to think about that. It's because the current state of social media, I can't call it. I can't call it. But all I know is I love to keep posting on it. I love to put the energy out there.
I'll post anywhere and ever. It's fun for me. Like a lot of people have gotten opportunities from social media, which is like the beauty of it. For me, like, my opportunity is because I just go out. I get out of the house and I'm going, Chris. So for me, that's like a good thing. My brand isn't affected by social media because I'm getting my business and I'm getting my opportunities from just going out. Like, social media isn't where it's coming, which is what I like. But obviously, there's a big platform there to be used, which is why I want to go out with the content.
When you, like, just going back to when we were talking about how the security guard was like, oh, no, we know this guy. He does magic. Like, you'll never get that opportunity if you just, like, try to throw up your phone and, like, hey, I'm a celebrity magician. Like, they're not going to look. Yeah. They're just going. But if somebody that knows you is with them and they've seen you do it before and they've seen, it's over. It's like, yeah, no, he actually does this. Like, let's check it out. Like, you're not just some random person trying to get your shot. It's like they actually know you. They have a connection with you. I've always loved that. And going back to the Reds thing, when we were first growing the brand, it was like there was no market. Like, I couldn't post on social media what was going on because it was during the pandemic. So, like, everything that was going on, and I think at this point, people know that year I was pushing the limits, letting people in, and, like, I really not because I wanted to just break the rules or whatever, but because I really believed it was the right thing to do. And when people got to know me and they saw that, like, they told their friends. And it was them who spread the awareness, and we didn't have it. I wasn't posting anything on social media because you couldn't. But that word of mouth, like, everybody's like, no, he's for real. Like, this place is awesome. Red's and Mama Red, she's amazing, so nice. Every time we come in, she greets us, she's smiling. Like, you know, that is, like, so important. And again, it relates to anything, like going back to you as a magician. It's the people that are saying, like, no, this guy, he's for real. He's done it before. Like, wait till you see this.
Again, it, like, differentiates you because it's like people aren't, a lot of the things I go to do magic, people aren't bringing me because I'm a magician. They bring me because they want me there.
Yes.
And then, like, I can do magic. It doubles it. Like, I did a Louis Vuitton event yesterday. That was
Louis V,
so
baby. Let's
cool.
go.
Like,
that's all time.
I had, like, people even from high school, like, commenting on that. I was like, I haven't heard from you since high school. So, like, that caught some eyes. But the way that came about was just me being myself. You know, I actually, that was yesterday. On Tuesday when I went to the album listening party for French Montana, I saw Kenzo B. I was like, I wanted to do it. And a girl behind me who's a writer was like, I write. I do a bunch of stuff. Like, maybe I could include you in the piece. I was like, yeah, that's cool. And she was like, I do a ton of events. There's this Louis Vuitton one. Do you want to go? I was like, I'm going to go to a Louis Vuitton
100%.
one. So I got to go there. And then for me, as soon as I showed up, I'm bringing my cards. I'm doing magic. I missed them because I was, like, so focused in the crowd. But there was a few celebrities there, too. I saw Meek Mill. I saw Russell Simmons there. I was like, this is cool. Others were supposed to go. They weren't allowed to tell us, but I found out later once they were in. Frank Ocean was supposed to come for a bit. Like, this was, like, some cool people there. And I got to Louis Vuitton because I went to the French Montana thing. I never would have went to the French Montana thing if I didn't try to do a trick for French at Nebula Nightclub. And I never would have knew the people at Nebula Nightclub if I didn't meet them at Superior Ingredients, which is like a club rooftop in Brooklyn. I wouldn't have gotten invited to Superior Ingredients if I didn't do a magic for that guy's fiance at the time backstage at Vintage Culture. I wouldn't have been backstage if I didn't do tricks for his niece. Wouldn't have been niece if I didn't. It's like such a cycle.
Yes.
It just goes and goes and goes. And it's like.
And you never know what, it's cool to hear you just lay that out like that, because I think people don't realize that it, like, every little opportunity that you can create for yourself may present another one. So it's like, initially, like, you may have to create the opportunities, but you never know what one will present itself after that because you did that, you know? And it's cool to hear because you went after it. Like, you were like, all right, I'm going and I'm just going to do this. Like, and then it keeps leading to different things. And then it's like cool because even you look at somebody like, we knew each other, we follow each other, and we were trying to line things up for a while. And I get to watch the whole way because I follow you on Instagram and I see everything you're doing, and it's like a progression. And it's cool now to hear the story and hear how you kind of connected all the dots and everything. It's an amazing story.
And, like, a perfect example of that is, like, you always know the lesson, you got to spend money to make money.
Yeah.
And everyone knows it's true. You do. And, like, for me, I was like, but as a magician, how do I do that? And, like, I had my first example. It's like I found this event. It was like a charity gala in New York. And I do a lot of charity stuff. I love supporting causes. At Bloomberg, they do a lot of charity. So I was doing tons of volunteering there, tons of volunteering as a magician, all kinds of things. And I was like, I want to work this event. But I got into them too late. So their entertainment budget was full, and they couldn't have me. And I was like, hey, like, okay, like, I'm just going to go. Like, I want to support and show love. I spent this was thankfully $35 in New York. That's something's that cheap. I'm going. Like,
yeah.
There's nothing. All the other things are like, you know, a couple hundred.
Oh, yeah.
Usually, for me, if something's that expensive and I don't know anyone, I'm going to say I'll volunteer my services if you can give me in for free because of networking.
Good trade off. Yep.
And so I spent $35 to go to this charity event, and it's cool. Like, they had, like, the red carpet. I got nice photos, nice videos, and stuff. And one of the ladies I met, she said that she's engaged, and she's having an engagement party the next week. And because I did magic for her and Friday, she booked me. So I spent $35 to go to an event to get a $600 show a week later.
Dude.
And I was like, you just got to go. You just have to
go. Like, people need to hear these kind of stories because it's so true. And I think also, like, just thinking about, like, if people are trying to start anything, it doesn't have to be being a magician or maybe owning a restaurant or a bar or a club. Like, but that's the way it's done. It's like, I think a lot of people think it just happens overnight. And I mean, people do think that because you hear about a lot of, like, people who are doing other podcasts that are more well-known than this one that are, like, big. And the people that are talking and the guests they talk about how long it took to really get there. And that whole story, you know, that they tell is this, it's very similar. It runs a very similar path of all these little opportunities along the way that they took to get there. And it's cool hearing it from you to see now, doing Magic for these Louis Vuitton events or French Montana. It's insane. It's cool.
It's like, our friend Tobias Eats, who is an awesome guy. I love you, Tobias. He was, like, his story too on the episode. He talked about how he just went from this guy who started marketing Josh Wills to now he's doing those movie premieres and stuff. And it's just all about like going for it, just find opportunity. And again, like when you said like starting something, if you want to start something, the number one thing aside from believing in yourself and faith, because if you don't do that, it's over. It's like that goes way, way, way farther than anything ever could. But it's still like what we talked about, the brand in yourself. If you remember you're you, doesn't matter. You could be a carpenter, you could be doing construction, a bar owner, a magician. It doesn't matter. They're all the same because the best companies, the best brands are the ones that people love for the brand.
Yes.
Because whatever service you offer, I guarantee you there's people that will offer it cheaper. There's people that will offer it better probably or better customers. You're never outbeating everyone in everything. But if you beat people in who they like, then all those don't matter. The service, if it's similar to, they're choosing you. If they like buying a product, they're choosing you because they like your brand, right? It's always about the brand. And if you build it based around the brand, like it's more about like when I was a soccer player, a big saying they always said is if you play for the name on the front, they're always going to remember the name on the back.
Yep.
So you put your heart out for the team and the brand you represent, they're always going to know who you are. And that's the same thing. Like you're an employee for yourself. And you have to remember yourself is that company or brand you're building, and you're that employee. And if you work for that company and build it for yourself, they're going to know who you are. You don't need to go tell them who you are. You just need to tell them what you do for who you do. And that's that company. Kind of separate. Like I'm Josh Shupak, and I work for JoshPele Magic. And JoshPele Magic is, cutting edge, celebrity magician, award-winning, whatever you want to call it. But it comes from never forgetting, like, I work for JoshPele Magic. And JoshPele Magic is all the goals, the mission statements, the values I have, and the work that I put in. And if you remember that, like you're two people working together, like you already have your team. And if you think about it that way, like if you didn't think about it that way, and now you do, your team just doubled. You just went from 1 to 2, and that's all it takes, the first step. And then your team's going to get bigger. Yep. Just go from there.
Dude, do you always have an understanding of this? Because this is some things that I've learned over time, like all the concepts that you're talking about right now that a lot of people don't know, but it's things you learn over time, and some of the things are just you kind of know it. Did you always have did you always have this knowledge of these concepts?
I think in a way, like I always did, but like putting it into practice. Like I said,
yes.
like the sayings, you hear all the sayings, like example, like I gave that example of how I learned spend money, make like no idea like what if someone gave me 10K right now for my magic business, what are some examples I could use to make that bigger? Aside from like investors, like magic specifically, I never would have thought go to this event because you'll meet that and those things. And a lot of these lessons I know, and you kind of just think about it. And for me, it's such a hard pitch. You know what I mean? Like with a great brand, the service itself has a distinction. You know what I mean? If you're an amazing DJ and someone's having a wedding, it's no brainer that they're going to hire a DJ. But if you're an amazing magician that does weddings and someone has a wedding, it's not an instant kind of sell for them until they either, and sometimes it's even when they're told, a lot of times it's, I'm telling, restaurants, bars, I could do it. And they like the idea, even if they like it's not enough. I say, I'm going to try it for you. And maybe it'll be like, give me 30 minutes. I'll do a free 30-minute free show for your guests, and you'll see. And then from there, I've never had someone give me a tryout and not book me.
Yeah.
So like with magic, it gets to the point where like I have to put them into practice, but it's always about selling it. So that kind of brand distinction is it, because I'm just a magician, and I have to separate myself from every opinion anyone will have of magicians and magic. But I'm also not a magician. I'm JoshPele Magic. That's very different. And what I could show you to your guests, to your clients, the hospitality my service does, I need to pitch that. And that's kind of like where those lessons are, like practice these lessons in person, figure out how to do it. Because once I get one restaurant, I see what works, what's successful, then I can start getting more. And then I want to get, because right now, like it looks like I'm successful, which it's going very well, but like it's only like a next step. Right? I don't have like these bookings every single week. And the times where I'm booked weekly, it's only a few. Like there's so much more to do. It's still about, there's more lessons to put in, right? And as you do one, you learn more. Like there's so much maturing you do. Like that's the best thing I think anyone can ever do, is have a brand and build a business.
Yeah.
It's going to teach. I studied 4 years at Rutgers doing business analytics, information technology. It's arguably the hardest major in the business school. And everything I'm learning that relates to my day job in finance, and that has all been picked up from me going out
and doing it.
Magic.
And actually doing it. It's that's a good point. People, you will not learn the lesson until you. And it's cool what you said. Like, I think you were like, I kind of had the idea of these things. Like, I kind of thought about it, but then when you put it into practice and when you're doing them, they kind of like when you actually do it, when you actually go through it, that's when you actually learn the lesson and like the concept becomes truth. So what's next for you then? Are you going to continue on with the nightlife? Like that's where you want to stay?
I want to do everything. You know what I mean? Like nightlife is at night. I want stuff during that. I want like breakfast places and brunches, then go out to the club. I want it all. And the celebrity side, I do, nightclubs I love doing. I want to go out at night and I want to work the tables and I want to do that because I want to do more tricks. I have some really cool tricks with like champagne bottles and shots. And it's one of the things I don't always get good footage of because it's like, I can't bring a champagne bottle into a club, but if I work at the club, they'll give me the bottle to do and give to the client or record. So I want to do night stuff. I love doing the charity stuff as well. Like I've done a lot of causes. And right now with the war in Ukraine, there's so many things going on. I'm 100% Ukrainian, which is like a very random thing about me, but any Ukrainian cause, like I have a meaningful cause to go for, so I target a lot of those. But I like all charities as well. I've done, like Relay for Lives, like any kind of fitness. I did one for, I did a Farzana Foundation, which is like building water wells in Afghanistan for the people that have fresh water. I've done like all kinds. I want more events like the Louis Vuitton stuff, not just because it's cool, but I want that because that I can meet the charity people and make my impact. So I'm targeting all the charities, all the restaurants, all the bar owners, all the clubs, everyone with the business. I want to work with anyone and everyone, and I want to try it. Like I love sushi, and I've been doing a lot of sushi restaurants, and that's the best because I don't. It's not part of like my negotiation. Like, can you feed me? It's just I'm gonna do magic, and they see like when I'm there, like I do a good job. I'm working hard. They usually offer, which is very great. That's great restaurants. Yeah. But now it's like if it's a restaurant I like I have this one residency in Homedale at Patricia's. It's an Italian restaurant. It's very popular. Like they look very popular. When I'm there, it's busy. They didn't even announce it was me. They just said they were gonna try a magician, and the reservations in 15 minutes sold out so much. There were so many tables that day that it took me 3 hours to get them all, and I still didn't get them all. Jeez. And that's actually another lesson I learned of how powerful a brand can be, is because one lady that was at the restaurant that day, she was at a table that didn't get to see me. And she didn't know there was going to be a magician, but she saw what I was doing for other people. She went back to the restaurant and asked them about me. And they gave her my information. She called me. She's like, I didn't get to see what you do. I heard you're a magician. I saw like you were doing some cool stuff for other people. How does it work? Like, can I book you? So she books me for her 50th birthday party. I go on to Brooklyn. It's like this restaurant that she had section spiced out. I do it for all her guests. She loved it. She called me again a few months later, like, remember you had me at my birthday? I'm having another party. You want to go? And now she's like, you're my magician. I want you at I don't need any other magicians. I want you. And it was funny because she texted me like the other day. She's like, hey, I see you doing magic for all these celebrities and all these people. Just remember that you're my magician. and she even adds, she goes, at the price we agreed on. Like, and I was like, this is like one of my first like repeat, like personal clients. Like restaurants, it's pretty easy repeat. If I do it, crush it once, crush it again, because business is good that day and everything goes well. And it's also great for clubs because sometimes people pregame at one and go to another. So if I'm working at a club that's one of those spots, I have people staying longer. The longer people stay, the more drinks they're like. I have so many different ways in which I can increase the revenue by having the people there while enjoying their stay. I can make them stay there by choice, have fun, enjoy, and they're also going to be spending more money. There's so many different benefits to people having. Yeah. And so
how many residencies do you currently have?
So my residencies are very like sporadic. So I used to have the Mad Hatter one. I don't have that currently. I haven't been back since that, but they do have events here and there that they call me for. Patricia's in Homedale is one that I do. I'm like, now it's January. I'm like messaging all my like clients and booking my next date. So I have that. I'm not sure what my next date is. I did a speakeasy in Brooklyn called the Cactus Shop. So I'm gonna talk to them about what my next date is. I have a new trial this Friday and Saturday. I'm going to be in New York at a place called Mama Sushi. I'm going to do magic at the Harlem location in the Bronx. And this is like my first time with them. If it goes well, that'll turn into a long-term residency. Sushi by Bo, which is like a chain in like New York, Miami, Chicago. I don't know if they have a Chicago one, but they opened one in Flatiron. So I have that location. They just opened one in Hoboken. I might be doing the one there because I know both the guy running the Hoboken one and the actual owner of the chains that are from New York. They had me at their openings. I have that. I did Williamsburg Hotel in the summer. Don't know if I'll be back there, but in the summer I likely will be at Summer Club. That one's a residency I haven't yet started because they're not open during the year. But I
So
see
you're
those
and
people.
you're just reaching out and saying like to these new spots that you want to potentially be, have the residency at. You're just reaching out and kind of being like, this is
Yeah, so
what I
this is
do.
like-
Show them some of the content.
Exactly. This was like a great chain for me. Like the Brooklyn Speakeasy and the one that came brilliant. So I convinced the hospitality or Tao Group, which is very hard for Michigan.
Tao Group, big time.
Tao Group doesn't really have budgets for anything other than like the DJs and that, but they wanted to try me out, so they had me. I was talking to them, and they had me come out to one of their Thursday parties. They have stuff everywhere, but this one promoter group or hospitality group within Tao had me come to a place called PhD Rooftop. The day I came in, their biggest table was Bacardi. They're doing like a holiday event, so I network, and now it's like I'm doing magic for Bacardi, and I could say that on my website. I performed for Bacardi because I actually did, and the Bacardi people love me, and they text me like, "Hey, we're having like a Bacardi event, like a big one. Do you want to do magic at it?" And I was like, "Of course." And I go to it, and it's a coquito competition. Holidays are coming up, people making coquito. They had like celebrity judges, a big stage, and it's a competition. So all these restaurants are competing. And I was like, "Oh, this is cool." And then I realized they're giving the coquito to the judges. They want the people to sample because they want people to buy it. So they had booths. It was like such a big like stage area. I was like in the middle. I didn't see like the actual like U kind of shape on like the edges. So I didn't see that there were tables of every single participant giving samples of his coquito. So I went table to table, tried the coquito, started a conversation with the one. Some of them aren't physical locations, they're just selling coquito, which I'm like, okay. But some of them are restaurants. It's like, hey, like I do this, and I got this right there. I met the Brooklyn Speakeasy, and they had me for one of their holidays. It was like I forgot what it's called, but it's like near Christmas time. There's like a Latino holiday. It's very big for Mexicans and a few other countries. So they had me go there, and I crushed it out there. The Mama Sushi person met me there. He didn't text me back for a while, but then this year, but then this year it was only been since December, so I texted him like 2 or 3 times with no response. I was like, "Hey, Happy New Year." He goes, "Hi, Josh, how are you?" I was like, "I'm good." He calls me. He's like, "We want to try you at the locations." So I have 2 locations with them to do, and this guy owns like a few, so it works out. Like I always, if you're a restaurant or I look for it, I show you, and like, sometimes if I really need to dig down, like I don't mind offering it for like not necessarily free. Like I can't do a long time for free, but if it's a day where I'm open, like if I have a show early, I can't do a long time, but I could do a little and show you.
Yeah.
And like once people see me with their clients, it's always like a club likes it, but they don't know if it'll work in my club. And then when I do it in their club, now they're sold. If I do it in your venue, there's no doubt. And you see the reaction your clients have, people enjoy it. So for me, I'm going to go out. I don't know how to find restaurant owners. I don't have a big network of restaurants. I'm looking at where do restaurant owners go. Maybe there's like trade shows or conventions where I kind of figure it out, but I always target. Like I used to go to EDM shows. And I got to do all these DJs, and it was cool. And then I wanted to do clubs, and now I met the club people. And then I wanted to do rappers. It's like, I do a lot of DJs. I want to try doing more rappers. This was like 2 or 3 months ago. I was like, I've done like 50 DJs. I've done like 1 rapper, just Vanilla Ice. And that's from like my Pokemon card stuff. That's not even for my brand. He wasn't in New York or anything. How do I get rappers? I don't know. A single person's connected with rappers. I don't know that, but I was like, I want to go for it. And then like I focused on rappers. I somehow did rap. I focused on the modeling thing in New York, and
one leads to another.
Like,
yeah,
I put my focus on the thing, and then I find it. So now I have all these focuses, and just now I'm not starting from scratch with any of them. I have past restaurants that I could use. I have names, and now I just got to learn how to. It's not easy. I'm only 24. I don't know anything about running a business.
Yeah.
I don't have anyone like people are like, so you edit and you post videos and you have all these clients that you maintain relationships, both personal for private events and the celebrities and this. It's like, how many people are on your team? It's just me.
Just you.
I just do it all myself.
People say that with Corey and I too. They're like, so who's doing all the clips? Who's doing the editing? Who's getting everything together? I'm like, dude, it's Corey and myself, and we're just 2-man wrecking crew, just getting after, But we can do it, and that's actually an important point. Is like, I think it's important. I mean, if anybody's listening, if you own a business or you're going to own a business, you're doing everything yourself. Just know that from the beginning. You will do everything yourself. And if you can't do everything yourself, it's going to hinder you in certain areas. And of course, you got to hire people and get people to help you out in certain areas that you're not going to be able to attend to all the time. But it's one of the most important things two of the most important things I learned, while having Reds and doing that whole thing was, you got to show up. And you got to do everything yourself. And if you can do those 2 things, you'll be able to figure out the rest as well. So, but man, what an awesome conversation. I mean, the story you have has been amazing. Do we want to finish with one more magic trick? We were supposed to do a couple. I don't know. You want to rip one more?
Yeah, I got you. I guess it'd be fun to do a card trick.
Yeah,
given
absolutely.
that there's that. So what I'm gonna have you do is I'd like you to I'll hold this right here. So roll up the sleeves. Excuse the
Roll 'em up, baby.
Everyone's always like, the cards aren't shuffled. Do you want to shuffle them? The cards are all the same. Do you want to look? And it's like, it's never any of that. Now, Red, we talked about a little about mentalism, and we're gonna try to fuse it with magic. So we're gonna use cards.
Okay.
We're not gonna read your mind. We're gonna make you make a conscious decision that you're gonna tell everyone. I want you to think of any card. Now, before we begin, I want you to know that the most common card, kind of how we said if you think of a number, people will say 7. When you say choose a card, people think Ace of Spades right away.
Okay.
With girls, they still do think Ace of Spades. Sometimes they choose Queen of Hearts a lot. So we won't go with the Ace of Spades or Queen of Hearts because any magician or people that just know that looking will say it's phony or fraud. I want you to think of any card you like. Don't say it yet, but let us know when you have made a decision.
Okay, I got it.
Got a decision. Now, before you tell us, I'll give you the option. Do you want to stick with that card or do you want to change your mind?
Nope. Sticking with it.
Sticking with it. For the first time, what was the card?
5 of Hearts.
5 of Hearts. And we'll give you one last chance. Now that it's been announced, do you want to stick with the 5 of Hearts or do you want to change your mind?
Nope.
Sticking with the 5 of Hearts.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to take the cards out of the deck. And there's 2 angles I have. It's like the camera, so I'll throw the camera first, and then I'll turn towards you. But I have a deck of cards. Now, I am a lefty, but I want you to see that all the cards are face up. And I'll turn this way. Do you see that all the cards are face up?
I see them.
Yes. Now, every single card in this deck is facing. There's no red backs you see. Yes?
Now I see one.
There's one red back, and this red back will be the 5 of Hearts. And I want to mention for this trick, a lot of people say, "Oh, you have really fast hands. Like you turned it over really quickly." That trick is not a speed trick. I'm not that good. If I was that good,
yeah, I mean, let's slow it down. We got it on camera.
Yeah,
People, they're
you can. Yes, that 5 was flipped before you made the decision. We didn't set anything up. A lot of people think, "Oh, it's pre-planned, like it had to." It's so impossible, but no, it was not planned.
Oh, that's fire. That. No, 5 of Hearts because 5's my number, and then Hearts are red, and that's 5 is my favorite number. So, damn, that was amazing. What an awesome podcast, dude. Thank you for coming down and doing this. It's amazing.
Thank you for having. This was like, one of my 2023 goals. Like, I want to do podcasts.
Knock it right out, baby. Cool. Well, we're going on a tear for the next 2 months. I've been saying. I told you before the podcast, we're going 2 or 3 months. We're going to get after it. We're going to film. Hopefully, my top goal is 56 episodes. I could do 36, I suppose, because there's 9 months from Labor Day to Memorial Day. That's always been my schedule of work. But I want to do 1 a week, and I want to post 5 to 6 clips across all the platforms that I do it on. And so, we're firing away. So, I really thank you for coming down and making this happen.
Dude, thank you for having me. I can't wait to see the other episodes. I watched before the Reddcast. Great guest before. Sorry to be the best one, but
let's go.
A lot of great guests. Thank you so much for having me. This is amazing. Can't wait to see the other episodes.
Absolutely.
And I can't wait to go to the new bar you guys have opened up.
The Roosevelt. That's going to be a big one.
My next residence.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, dude, they will eat it up at the Roosevelt, dude. That would be perfect. So awesome. Well, thank you again. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And we're out of here, baby. Let's go.